Hello and welcome. Welcome to today's installment of Created for More, the podcast. And today we are going to have a very, very exciting conversation about just maximizing and living as your highest potential, to your fullest and optimal potential. I've got a guest who I am totally inspired by. Her name is Oluseye Ashiru, and she's a woman on a mission. Listen to this bio. She's a woman on a mission to support you live the abundant life. And it says here that it pumps her up, when she finds those who desire more, those who want to break up protocols and pursue the life that they were created to live. She's passionate about writing, sharing, and documenting her lessons so she can share them with the world. And she has authored 12 plus books over the last few years, just a few short years, and she's done over 12 books, and she's currently working on a few more. Her books are available globally in leading bookstores, and they can also be found on Amazon. A few other things to know: she's a Maxwell certified leadership, family, clarity and family values coach. She's an international speaker and trainer. She has an unusual grace to push people into a life of purpose. She's the founder of Mom University. She's also the founder of Living Boldly Incorporated. She's also the founder of Families, a Rising Resource Center. Oh my goodness. If I stayed here, we will go on and on and on. You are just the kind of person we love to speak to on this show, because you are inspiring the world. You are doing more, and we want to hear all about it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So I didn't do a great job about, reading your bio. I tried. I really did try. But there's a lot to say about you. So I want you to give us, tell us who you are in your own words, in the most unscripted version. I want you to tell us, what is the essence of Oluseye? Like, who are you?
Oh my, I just say that I'm just a woman who's following God. Because I think that's the most important part of my life, which is that, today I'm founder of something, tomorrow it could be something else, right? So all of these things that we've just mentioned do not even really define who I am. I'm just someone following God's script for my life. So whatever that script unravels each day, I'm here for it. Like, if God told me pack everything up, start over again. I mean, I've had that happen quite a number of times over the last 10 or 12 years or thereabout. God is always moving into other things. So who I am really is I'm a child of God who's just following God. And there's a script of God for my life that I want to follow. And that's really what motivates me, what moves me every single day. Maybe something else I would like to add is that I'm married. I'll be 18 years married in December. And I have 3 amazing children.
So good. Guys, you should watch the audio podcast on YouTube. She looks amazing.
So 3 kids, 2 teenagers and a twin. So we are graduating to that level where almost everybody in my house will be teenagers soon. And I'm looking at a short future. I'm going to be the shortest person in my family very soon as well. But I'm enjoying life on God's terms. No rush, no pressure, no rush. I'm just doing my life the way God wants it.
Oh my goodness, I love it. And where did this all start? And I'm going to get into what you're doing now, because it's just so exciting, and I think our listeners have a lot to learn and will benefit from just hearing about you're just the multifacetedness of you. But before we even get into that, I want to talk about who you were. Where I like to start from is who you were as a child. Have you always known that there was a special call upon you? Have you always used your voice, or did you start off as just being shy and reserved and then somehow blossomed into doing more?
Okay, this is a very interesting question. The only thing that I would say, because of the work that I do, I help other people connect their journeys to where they are. So one of the things that I would say is that I have always known that I just never fit in. Let me put it that way. I just never fit in, and that it used to irk me so much. Like, what is it? Why can't it just be normal? And when I say normal, it wasn't anything extraordinary, but I just knew that it just never fit in. So I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. For example, should I be a lawyer? Should I be a doctor? Should I be a mathematician? Should I be a statistician? And that's because I just was this all-rounder kind of child, right? So I would excel in different kinds of things. So it was tough. I just never could put myself in a box. And so that was the kind of experience that I had growing up. And so I like to tell this story a lot. I remember my choice of career, my choice of study in university, two different things, was actually because I was just standing outside my house one day. Just kind of, I met this visitor that had come to visit. I didn't remember the man's name up till today. And this man looked at me and was like, "Oh, hello, my dear. You know how your parents, well, back home in Nigeria, your parents would have friends. And, oh, hello, my dear. How are you? So what are you doing now? Oh, I'm in this school. I am in this class and all of that." And the man looked at me and said, "So what do you want to be? What do you want to study in school?" I think I just mentioned something random. Or like, I don't know what I said because I'm like, I don't know. How do I answer you, sir? And the man said, "Have you ever heard about this course?" So I said, "Oh, what course is that?" And he says, "Have you ever heard about actuarial science?" I said, "Oh, no, sir." And he goes on to say, "Oh, it's about this, about that." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And so I went back after the man had gone, opened the dictionary, checked what that was about. And I was like, "Oh, this sounds fascinating. I think I want to go into university to study actuarial science."
Oh my goodness. Do you know, I have a near identical story to yours.
Are you serious? It was so funny. Like, nobody had done it before. Nobody had even heard about, what's that? Like, I would tell people like, oh, they're like, "Oh, you say you are, is it actuary? Is it aquarium?" I mean, like, it was so funny. I'm telling you, like, "Oh, is it fish?" I'm like, "Hello, people." It's not like any of those things. It was quite interesting, but that was what, like, I just always knew that there was nothing I wanted to do that quite defined where I saw myself. Do you see what I mean? Like, there was no course that could define the kind of problems I wanted to solve in my life. But you know what? I was not quite clear about how I wanted my life to be. I just knew I didn't look like any of the things that I saw around me, right? I loved a lot of things, but I just didn't see my future. Like, so what will I now say I do in the future? Do you see what I mean? Like, it was so hard. And that's why I'm not surprised today that I do many things, right? Because I just need to be able to express myself when I need to express myself without any boxes. Like, I don't have to be put in a box to say, "Oh, you are a lawyer, or you're a doctor, or you are this or that." I just wanted to be able to solve problems for people. And my own journey into coming to terms with the fact that I'm not going to be normal, I think it took a while for me to rest in that. Like, you don't have to be normal. You don't have to be like everybody else. Sometimes why do you have to choose this hard?
Yeah, it's the pressure that I want us to talk about that a little bit, because I know that a lot of people struggle with it. It's that pressure of, and I think it's just the way the world works. The world works through labels. You must be one thing, so that we can identify you. It's that, just almost that system of identification. And if you're not one thing, they almost struggle you. So, so you were that's week, and they, "Oh my God, just tell us who you are."
Exactly.
And then we are made in an image of God, who is many things.
Exactly.
Who is Alpha, Omega, healer, this shepherd. He's many things. And I think when we have to get comfortable in the fact that we are inherently multifaceted people.
Exactly. That's it.
And until you do that, you don't give yourself permission to step into all of who you are. I love it. Please tell us more.
That's it. We don't. And it's so interesting because, that journey is not easy. Even up until now, it's not an easy journey. You always feel like you're the only person who's listening to your own tune, wherever you find yourself. So you are here, everybody's like, "Oh, why is she different? Like, why is she looking like..." It's tough sometimes, to take it on, It is. And I think that's the core of where I started my work from, right? To help people to embrace who they are.
Yeah. And I think there's also something to be said about how lonely it can be.
Absolutely.
How lonely it can be when you are blazing your own trail.
Yeah.
Because you're stepping into a space. Yes, there are other people who are doing bits and bobs of what you're doing, but there is nobody who is doing it in the exact permutation that you are.
Yep. Yeah.
You see what I
Exactly.
mean? You will
Yeah.
find people that are coaches as well, but would there be a coach who is an actuarial scientist who does this and who does that, who has this women's ministry and who has this there? You might not find people who are in that combination. So there's always that temptation that at every point you're looking around and saying,
like,
is this too crazy?
Anybody?
Is too crazy? Am I sure? Am I sure? And you know how
it's interesting.
How do you now get comfortable with that? Let's kill the demon.
Yeah.
For some people today that just feel I'm still in that boat where they just feel, I'm not normal. Let's make normal good.
Exactly. You know the thing
let's make abnormal good.
Abnormal, normal.
Yeah,
let abnormal be normal. Let it be okay to feel out of sorts and embrace who you are. You know that when I started my coaching journey, I've been coaching for a while before it became popular. Right? I've been doing. I remember somebody met me once. I said, you know what? When I met her, I was like, "What's she talking about? What's she doing?" Because at that time, people that were in the space, I started out coaching only moms, right? So people that were in the mom space were talking about diapers and baby food and things like that. And here I was coming. I'm like, I don't talk about diaper and baby food. I just want to talk about how the mom herself can be all these, because if she's not all this, it doesn't matter how many baby box of baby food she buys, it's not going to make a difference. She needs to embrace who she is. And so I started from there, from that point where it wasn't popular to be doing what I was doing, right? But you know what my journey into embracing who I am as this person was an interesting one. I had to just tell myself, you know what, you are made in the image of God. This is who you are in Jesus. This is who you are in Christ. This is what you are called to do. And this is the kind of legacy you choose to leave behind. So because of those things, it was easier for me to not listen to anybody else.
Say that again. Okay. Say that again.
So those
three
things were important.
Let's get it.
One, who I am. What's my identity? Who am I? Because it's from there that we can now start everything else. On this journey that I am, who am I? What is my purpose? What on earth am I here for? Why did God create me as Oluseye Ashiru? Why didn't he create another person, right? Why me? Why am I here?
Yes.
Right? And what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? So when people think about me, what comes to their minds? How do I want to leave my world? So those three things are important because it rids you of the desire to explain your intentions, or I don't have to explain myself to you. I just need to do the things that I do every day. I need to be bold enough to step into certain rooms, certain places, certain decisions without caring about anybody, what they think, those three things are important to us. We are still going to be dancing to the tunes of people. It's still going to be about what people think, or what would they say when they think I'm confused. I don't care if you think I'm confused. As long as I know that I am walking in the exact center of God's will for my life. That's it. I read something. I was 9 years old. I was in primary 6 in Nigeria. That's like grade 5, or depending on where you live in the world. I was 9, and so I saw this book, this Bible, in my house. I think it was my dad's Bible or book or something. And at the very front page of that thing, there was this. I don't know what it was. I don't think it was a scripture, but something had written there. And what was written there was this: that I want to live my life using the exact script that God had in mind when He created me. That's what it means to be a success, right? That every single day that God has written in His book concerning me, I'm living out that day. Do you imagine? Okay, let's talk about this for a bit. You know how it is that sometimes when you're hungry, and I want to eat something, and so I decide to go and cook that thing. It can go two ways. I can cook it, and it can be exactly as I envisioned. And then when I eat, I'm like, wow, this food tastes exactly as I had in mind when I wanted to eat it. Or it can go away like I cooked it the same food, but it was okay, but it didn't quite So it's food, right? But it didn't quite hit the mark with me. So for me, reading that thing at age 9, I told myself, this is exactly how I want to live my life. That every day of my life that I read in God's book, I live it out exactly the way He wrote it.
What an awareness at such a tender age.
So I don't care what you think. Like, honestly, like I've been that person. I don't really care what people think. The things that bother me are not those kinds of things. I have my own challenges in life, right? What you think about me, or whether I'm not normal or whatever, those are the least of my worries.
So let's talk about earthly remuneration, right?
Yeah.
So because this is another thing. This is another kind of perspective that often puts people off. They're like, okay, yes, I'm stepping out, I'm doing my thing, I'm leaving this script that I think is according to what God, but it doesn't feel like it's rewarding, like what someone else is doing, and it often gets to get people start going on a tangent sometimes. So I wonder what you would say about that.
Maybe because I've been here for a bit, I just want to say something, which is that at the end of our lives, I turned 40 a few days ago, so maybe that's why I'm talking like this. Maybe that's why I'm talking like this. But I mean, even before then, I think that at the end of our lives, we're going to have to just decide what matters to me. This is what I mean. What matters to me when I look at success and say I'm successful, what does that look like? Because we're talking about earthly remuneration. Some people, that is the bulk of what matters. Do you see what I mean? So it's important that we all define it for ourselves. What does success look like for you? When you say I'm successful or my life is fulfilling, what picture comes to your mind, right? And then I have seen that every need that I have is met by God, right? So, and it's a lie, okay, for somebody to think that because it's rewarding means it's not paying you. Do you see what I mean? Yeah, that's a lie. That it's rewarding does not mean that it will not give you money. In terms of
like currency, it's fulfilling. Let's use fulfilling. If it's fulfilling, does not mean it's not rewarding monetarily,
right? So even though in fact, I don't think you should be, you should be doing anything that doesn't reward you both monetarily and whatever. Like, it should have a way that it gives to you. Do you see what I mean? Because there's certain things that is wealth that is not necessarily money, but it will convert eventually to money, right? So the people the social network. So I meet you now, right? For example, and I may do something for you. Don't pay me money, but just meeting you can give me an idea that would spiral into something bigger.
There's social wealth.
There's a lot of ways to measure, but whatever we engage ourselves with must be that there's value in it. So there must be value in the things that I do. There must be some value. So even though I'm doing work that is very rewarding, fulfills me intensely, I still get paid for my work. And I'm a coach. I get paid for my coaching. Do you see? I get paid for my books. I write books. I get paid for my books. Get paid for my courses. I get paid. And sometimes the people that you are serving may not be the ones to pay you, but you get paid.
Yes.
You see what I mean? Sometimes it could be a grant you get from somewhere to do something, but it pays you. So you must find the way that the work you do will pay you. So we're not saying don't find the way that it's going to pay you, but we're saying don't let your motivation for doing the work be that it's going to pay you. So you will get paid. You get paid, whatever the case may be. But don't let that be the motivating factor. You know why? I've seen that when we have money, it's like diminishing returns, like law of diminishing returns. After a while, the money will not matter so much. You not start to look for satisfaction. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Because what you have, you're not hungry.
That's the hierarchy of needs, isn't it?
Yeah, all your needs are met. So what is now left? Do you see? But personally, I do not even believe that I should. I'm looking for shelter or food. I always say, let's turn this hierarchy. I remember I was arguing with one of my instructors. No kidding. About this hierarchy of needs. And the one was like, you have to take care of this first before you take care of this part. Like, before you get to the point where you're trying to find legacy, it's because you're no longer hungry. And I was like, I beg to differ. I've been hungry and I was looking for legacy. Do you see what I mean? We don't have to start from, you will find your basic need to be met. But I'm saying you don't have to wait until you're very full.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I believe survival it encumbers a lot of people, and it's not because you don't want it.
Exactly.
Survival is a big deal, and you cannot.
It's a big deal, and you must survive. You can't be dead.
Yeah, you have to stay alive, so you can't be pursuing.
But the thing is, even in the mode where you are trying to feed, you must never let go of your sense of purpose. That's what I'm saying. Do you see? Because those things will determine the kind of opportunities you take on, the kind of things that will be distractions to you or opportunities to you, right? So even in your trying to feed, in your trying to pay your bills, in your trying to make ends meet, in quotes, you must remember that you are not made just to make ends meet, right? So you must always have it. Okay, I'm here in this stopgap. I'm trying to do this job that doesn't particularly fulfill me, but I keep my eye on the goal, which is that I am made for more, like we talk about here, right? I'm made for more, therefore I can't settle here.
Yes,
this is what I mean. I mean, for someone who, especially for people that I live in Canada, or people are moving across the world. I mean, in recent times, a lot of people are moving from the home country and moving. So when people arrive, for example, in a new country, you think, I'm not going to pay my bills. That's important. You must settle that, but you cannot allow yourself to get caught up in that race of, until I'm fine before I pursue purpose, because it may never happen.
So
you may never be 100% fine. You see.
So I want us to pivot this conversation now. That's really good. Thank you for that. But I want us to pivot this conversation now to women, because I know you and I share that as a passion. The fact that women are really important, and we do all this work with women. I want to talk about what led you there, and why it is important to have women who know who they are, women who understand what their contribution to society should be, and the family unit, and what's missing when a woman doesn't use her voice and take her place.
I don't think you can even ever overemphasize the importance of woman, like how God created us, wired us, and all of that. Because we're essential to God's purpose. We're so essential, and it's one of the lies of the enemy is to put our heads down, make us feel as though we're not enough, and all of those things, right? Just because he knows what can happen when a woman wakes up, like literally. If she wakes up and she understands who she is, she's going to be a phenomenal person. So let me keep her otherwise engaged. One, in being ignorant of who she is. That's something. One. Two, let me keep her thinking she's not good enough. Right? Let me keep her occupied with mundane things. But she's pursuing what she thinks is good, like what she thinks is success right now. Let's keep her engaged in other mediocre stuff, right? So that she doesn't get into a purpose path, a legacy pathway. That's what the devil always tries to do to us: pull us down, keep us ignorant, keep us tied up with other things that are not important. But one of the reasons why I do what I do is because I've seen personally from my own personal experience, right, that the moment I started to understand the power of who I was and who I am, right, and what God has put in me, and what I can deliver, how much value I can deliver to my world. And when I hear testimonies of people, I've seen people. My husband and I were talking about it the other day, and we're like, I have a picture of one of my coaching clients. If I show you a picture, you will not even believe she's in person. I'm not kidding. And I worked with her for maybe 3 to 6 months or so. I couldn't believe it. I would look at her and be like, no, she's not the same person. I'm not joking. Like, even in terms of how she looked, appearance. And this is someone who has everything. Like, she wasn't broke, no. She had quite a wealthy family, right? So she wasn't broke. It wasn't broken. It wasn't that I'm looking for money so that I can buy. That was not the problem. Just this idea that I did not know who I was. So she felt, pulled down. And then I look at her and I'm looking at the strides. I'm like, wait, what? That tells you the power of just identifying who you are and walking in that light. there is phenomenal changes that can happen to you, transformation that can happen to you, that you can transform your own world in exchange, right?
Yes.
So because of that, we cannot afford to allow any other woman around you, anybody. And when I'm talking about, oh yeah, I have to be a coach, wherever you find yourself, any woman you see around you, that must be your intention. I don't like how you look. What's going on with you? How can I support you, your journey? Like, it should be a part of who we are. To want to pull another woman up. Why? Because there's power in womanhood. And then think about when a woman now becomes a mother. I feel like that power is just raised times 1 billion, right? Because you now are a custodian of shaping culture in your home. You're a custodian of shaping society in your home. You are now the person who dictates how somebody is churned out of your family. The people that are out there making strides in the world were born from a family, right? The ones who are doing well, one family. The ones who are messing around, a family. So imagine what a mother, that's a woman who has that capacity again, what she can do. She can transform society by her willingness to invest time in shaping culture through her children. So that's why we cannot afford to just disregard women or even mothers, or leave them when you see them like, oh, she's struggling, mom. I don't care. That's really her business. All this divide of, she took on so much, or I don't know why she's in a career. She should be at home taking care of her children. All those divides, all those things that we talking about. We can't afford to be like that, because every woman that I see around me is important to me. I'm that person, who sees someone. I'm like, no, I was looking for a way to, like, how can I call her closer and say, you can do it this way, right? Because there's power in that. God can use you as a woman to transform the world. So we can't afford to underestimate the power of us as women. It's why I do what I do. It's why I'm passionate about women. It's why my entire life's work, basically. It's about women, and all of that. Yeah.
So a woman is listening to this podcast. She's saying, oh, well and good, you're an actuarial scientist. Don't brag, you've got a podcast, you're a coach, an engineer, or whatever, you've written a book. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know if I have anything, good in me. How can I contribute to the world? What would you say to her?
Honestly, I would say start with being quiet. Start with being quiet. Sometimes we are so afraid of being quiet because we want noise around. There's a lot of noise in the world, right? So we don't even spend enough time with ourselves to even know who we are and what value we have in us, right? Be quiet enough to stay with be still and stay with yourself and say, who am I? Beyond all of this, the mask that we're wearing, all the degrees I have, or how people perceive me, my job, my whatever. Who am I really when I think about it? Start from there. Do a deep dive into who you are. And then you're going to see that you have something in you to contribute to the world. And when I say contribute, it doesn't have to be that you wrote a book, or that you are having a podcast, or that people know you're on Times or whatever, somewhere, Forbes. No. Where you are right now, there is something you can contribute, whether it's in where you work, in your neighborhood, in your community, the child that is next to you, somebody you meet every day, your co-worker at work. You have value. You are a valuable person because God created you. That's how I know. I don't even need to think too much about it. God created all of us with value inside of us. That one is a given. So you have value. So I think the answer is for you to sit back and say, what value is there in me? What can I see in my life? And sometimes it may be hard for you to see value in yourself, especially because if you're coming from a background where all that you've heard all your life is you're not good enough, you can never amount to anything, and all of that. So you need to put yourself in spaces, find a community where everybody there is telling you how amazing you are. Like,
so true.
You know how you have hype women? Yes, stay in those kind of places where you will be able to see beyond all the things labels that people have put on you, or you're not good enough, you can never amount to anything, you're a failure. Take those things away from yourself Stay with people around you who will help you be, will remind you about who you are. And one of the things that I like to also say is that, my daughters like to Google me. They do it all the time. They'll Google me and show their friends. They see my mommy. And I'm like, oh, they like it. See, mom, oh my God, so pretty. They like it, right? they love doing it. I just smile when I see them do that thing. But you know what I wanted to bring out of that is that Google yourself. If what you see is not what you want to see, then you start to tell yourself, I'm choosing from today to be this person, no matter what anybody has told you in the past. You have the authority from God to create the kind of existence that you want to see. Like, exactly. God has given us that free reign to say, this is the kind of person that I want to be.
And then
this is what I want to be said about.
And the inverse of what you said around, you Google yourself, and if what you see is not what you want to see, the fact that you might Google yourself and not see anything at all, but understand that you can create it. So it's the decision you then make to say, okay, what would I like to see when I Google myself? And even if you don't see us, even if some people don't like social media, they don't want to be anywhere, that's okay. When we say Google yourself, we don't even mean like literally, but we're saying when people think about you, what impression do they have about the kind of person you are? You can even do the activity, ask your friends, give them and say, when you think about me, what comes to your mind, right? Because if what they're saying doesn't look like the kind of person you want to be in the future, you have the right now. You have the power right now to recreate it, right? To change things around and say, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person. I was sharing earlier today about how it is that I remember I saw a picture of myself when I was 30. And I was like, oh, this is me. I was defeated for my birthday when I turned 40. So I was like, oh, I was taking this picture. Okay. The life that I thought I would be living when I turned 40, is it the kind of life I'm living right now? And I was like, oh yeah, actually. I'm actually living my life the way that I wanted to live it. So I don't have any regrets, right? But imagine that there are people who are 40 or 50 or 60, and that's okay. Because the day you wake up with your own morning, that's fine. It's the day you wake up. I think this exercise is useful for anyone. So everyone listening, I think it's wherever you are, whatever you have achieved, it's such a powerful exercise to say, okay, my age plus 5, my age plus 10.
Yeah.
What would I like to see at that point? Yeah. And then just say, okay, how can I create that life? Because we are all creators, aren't we? That's the power that we've been given from God to create.
Absolutely.
But it's just that some people use that power more than others. Some people don't at all. So unfortunately, it's such a powerful. Thank you so much for that great, powerful tool to create your future. I was doing some research on you, and I then saw that you wrote. I mean, it was mind blowing. I saw like 3 books in 3 months. I mean, my people in Nigeria, they say hot soup for us. Please. What is that? Please give us a blueprint. How does one do that?
Oh my goodness. I mean, that's interesting. I remember that particular year. I remember I started that year. I said I want to write a book this year. I'd never written a book before. That was my first time. I want to write a book this year. And so I did not know what to do. So I was okay. I just had my content. I looked for somebody that I thought this person should be able to help me. So I reached out to that person and the person was like, I'm going to help you. Month 1, I'm going to help you. Month 2, I'm going to help. Month 3, month 9. I said, no. That's not what, if at the end of this year, I want to be able to say, well, I did what I wanted to do. So I figured, okay, I'm just going to find out to do this. I'm just going to Google and check. What do I do? What can I self-publish my book? What can I do? Blah, blah, blah. So I Googled everything, did my research and all of that. And I started. I had my content already. I'd written these things. And I just took that, what I'd written, I just published it myself. Self-published on Amazon. And I was like, wait. You mean? You mean I can do this? Okay, people. All the things that I've been writing all these years, because I love writing. I've been writing all this, I can convert these things to books. Okay, here we go, people. And because I've done it before, just replicated it. So I think the lesson in that is 1, vision, right? It has to consume you. It's easy. I just said, well, you know what? Next year is another year. September, next year I will do it. I always tell people, when I decide I want something next year, I always ask myself, Shay, why can't you start today? Why do you have to wait until the next day? Start right now. Because you have that power of vision of what you see and what you want to achieve, and then having the discipline and the grit and the determination to say, I am going to get it done.
Please, let's talk about that discipline and grit, because that is often what is missing.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants everything, but no one wants to do what
Nobody wants it. Nobody wants to stick with it. Nobody wants to stay there. Nobody wants to be,
Nobody wants to do the work it takes. There is this affirmation that DDK, obviously you and I both follow DDK, and I love it. She says, my desire to be who I want to be in future is greater than the resistance that I feel towards it. How does she put it? She says, my desire to create the future that I want.
Yep.
I want is greater than the resistance it takes for me to. I feel in my presence
right now. Yeah, and that's it. You know that resistance thing you mentioned right now is where a lot of us get it wrong. So we think that you feel resistance means you should leave things. So we have this thing of if kiss Sarah, whatever will be whatever. So we have that there somewhere in our minds, and because we didn't want to do the work in any case, right? I'm like, you know what? It's not working. I'm just gonna leave it. But you know what I've said? We're waiting for motivation. No, grit does not wait for motivation. It doesn't wait for inspiration. Grit shows up whether it feels like it or not. When you feel like I just want to curl up on this chair, I don't want to talk to anybody, but I've got to get up and just do my work. It is, these things are developed by practice. When I tell people cannot imagine. When I tell them that I used to be such an inconsistent human being, it is unbelievable to me right now. They're like, okay, really?
Yes,
it's unbelievable. Why? Because consistency takes discipline. You do it today, you do it tomorrow, you do it the day after, and the day after, and you continue to do it until it becomes who you are. You become this person by consistent habits. That's it. So when you feel like it, you show up. When you don't feel like it, you keep showing up. When people don't care about what you're doing, you show up. When there's nobody listening to your podcast, you are there recording it. When nobody reading your blog, you keep writing. I wrote a blog every single day of 1 year when I started blogging. Every day.
Whether you feel like it.
Forget to feel like it's even because of my problems. In Nigeria, I was talking about I won't have internet that time, but I'm talking about before Wi-Fi became a thing, where everybody had Wi-Fi in their homes. So it was phone. So I could be on the road, I would be blogging on my phone. I'll be typing my text on my phone. Like I was blogging every single day. So first, your vision. Second, your grit and determination. Number 3, start from what you have and where you are. Like, don't even say, oh, no, I want to start a podcast. Therefore, I'm going to have my mic, Oh, how do you start a podcast? You go on Google. You remain there forever. Oh, you have this mic. And now, when I started to do podcast, it was me on my phone. I didn't care. I just had in my notes, my phone, and I didn't even have any earpiece or mic or whatever. I just started to record straight up into my phone, and I just started doing it. Because when you wait until everything is perfect, you're never going to get anything done. It is
a sickness, isn't it?
And then you stay there, you keep dotting the I's, keep crossing the T's, and all of those things, you never get anything done. That's it. So you keep moving. If you want to publish a book, I mean, just kidding, but if you want to get anything done, whatever it is, a vision you have in your heart, let that vision consume you so much that you're willing to move. Stay there, whether you feel like or not. Even when you hear no, stay there until you get it done. And then you must start with what you have. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Because you know what I've said? You cannot learn from what you didn't do. Right?
Preach it.
All the things that I know to do today, I've done a lot of things in my life. Yeah, okay? My blog, the things that I do, I design every single website that I own. I designed them myself. And I learned designing website through blogging. Right? So, and nobody taught me. I self-taught. But it's what they call habits. Like you develop it by practice. You keep doing it until it becomes second nature to you. So today somebody can say, I can develop a whole website in 2 hours. Usually, because I've done it over how many years? Like I've been doing it for a while. Do you see what I mean? But if you don't start,
you can't improve.
You can't improve on what you don't start at all. So my podcast, maybe my voice, like my voice, that doesn't. Yeah, I don't care. You see, you just have to start because you improve, you get better at what you started.
I
You learn.
remember, I remember when I started this podcast, and I was so nervous. So if you go and listen to my first, I've been podcasting consistently for 2.5 years now. When I first started, praise God, when I first started, I used to if I'm doing a solo episode, just me, I'll write every single word down. I like, hello, welcome to.
Because you need to have some people of you to make
I'm trying to talk about resilience, and I will have even put open bracket laugh.
Exactly.
But the truth is, I needed to do that to build my muscles. Absolutely. I needed to do that to grow. So now I'm going on and I'm having this, and I'm just speaking extemporaneously. Yeah. And I'm like, I couldn't do that without building on it. So this is a literal kick up the backside. You who have been saying, I will do it someday, but I'm just waiting for it. This is your sign. This is your sign. You say, I need a sign from God. This is your sign. Yep. Get up and get moving. Get up and start. Whichever way, shape, or form it is, however imperfect it is, just get up and do it. And why is it important that we start imperfectly?
Because the world is waiting for you. I think that we have to get to the point where we actually understand that my message is more important than all the things that I think are my excuses, right? I think that until we understand that we have value to offer the world, that my voice is important, what I have to share is important. Somebody needs to hear it. The book I want to write was going to bless somebody. The podcast I'm doing, or the Bible study that I'm writing for the kids, or that devotional that I'm going to publish. Even in simple things, the person I want to say hello to when I get to work, my job in this organization. You see, everything is important. Until you see your own value, you're going to keep giving yourself excuses. If you understood the power of that one thing you want to do and how much it can transform the world. I remember hearing this in 2015, that you can never, ever, ever, ever understand the enormous power of saying yes or saying no to something or to God. Because when you say yes, you don't understand what has happened. And I like to use Peter in the Bible as an example. When you say yes, the moment Peter said yes to Jesus Christ saying, come out of the boat, do you know what that yes became? The yes became a solid ground. The yes translated into ground that you could walk on. That's what happens when you say yes. It becomes a solid ground on the water that you can walk on as though there's no water there. Right? It becomes this, it takes on a life of its own. It becomes word in flesh. So when you say, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to do this thing, and you say, I'm going to do it. I had a challenge. I needed to get some things done in Nigeria, and it was trouble. I was like, oh my God, everybody I knew who could help me sort it out. They were like, oh, this thing is becoming hard. Even me, somebody, but I was like, oh, even you're telling me your story. You that I thought would help me. And then, for me, I'm trying to get this thing done. I'm not able to get it done. And I said, God, I know I need to get this thing done. I know it's part of your will for my life this year. So you know what? I'm just going to leave it to you to do it. Someone calls me up and says, hello, madam. It's been a while I spoke with you. Did you want to get something done? I'm like, yes. How did you know? I'm like, you know what? I have your file in front of me right now. I said, what? Out of the blues. One thing I have seen is that when you want something and you want it so badly, everything is going to support you. All you're waiting for is that yes. And the moment we understand the importance of the value we bring to the world, it's easier to say yes to things. See you coming onto a podcast, nervous, shaking, with your notes typed out and everything that you want to say on there. But because you're like, this thing I have to share with the world, it's important that the world hears it. My message is valuable. What I have to say is valuable. And I'm not going to let excuses stop me. The moment you understand that part, it's easier to keep going. Even when there's opposition, even when nobody comes, even when you have one download on the episode, or nobody even watches at all. They're gonna be like, you know what? Do you know how many people have told me things that I did years ago? Like, oh, I stumbled on one thing, and I'm like, like people are literally commenting on something that I and I'm like, and in this year is when they are now listening to me, where it's now going to work for them. Do you see? The things we do are not about us. It's about somebody else who needs that thing for their lives.
Yes.
And if I'm important enough in the scheme of things, if God has empowered me with these things that I have to share with the world, then I better be ready to make the sacrifice and have the discipline to do it even when it's not perfect. And get out of my own head. Basically, like all these things, oh, maybe it doesn't sound well. I don't care. Like, I just do my thing and move on to the next thing. Right? Like, I don't have to tell myself, should I be present right now? Like, I have to call myself to be present.
Oh,
right?
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I got into trouble once with someone because I just written a book, and I was saying to the person, and the person asked me, how does it feel? And I said, I've moved on. Did I just write a book? It's like, it's all gone. It's like, oh, what do you mean? You're not being appreciative. You're not sitting in the moment. I'm like, that book is gone. Like, I'm thinking about the next one.
We gotta do.
There's too much to do. It's no need to keep talking about the thing that's already happened. So I totally hear you. Look, this was such a fascinating conversation, and I know that my listeners are going to get every single thing that that God intends for them out of this conversation. I just want to say thank you for bringing your full self, and thank you for just setting this place alight. So a couple of things as we close. First of all, I want you to tell us, how we can, my people can connect with you, for those who want to. I know that you wear many hats, so maybe if you want to if you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing and what you're up to. Of course, we'll put some of the details in the show notes and stuff, but it'll be good for you to just say it on the podcast, on the session as well, and then I'll get you to close the show as well. But go ahead.
All right, I mean, my name is Oluseye Ashiru, so if you want to find me, all you have to do is either find me on social media at Oluseye Ashiru, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. That's my name, and those are my handles as well, everywhere, Oluseye Ashiru, and my website is also oluseyashiru.com. And of course, once you find me, you find everything else that I do. It's easier for you that way. It's more tidy, right? So if you find my website or find me on social media, you see the work that we do at Families Are Rising. We are helping families. You see the work that we do at Mom University, supporting moms. The work we do at Living Boldly Inc. for women living in diaspora. You see the work that I do across Rooted Disciples Bible School. I mean, you'll find all the work we do if you find me on social media, on my website, because all the things that I do are all on there. So it's easier for you to access those things. And I can connect with you. So of course, if you connect with me, please mention this show and they'll say, oh, I listened to you on this show and I'm connected from there, right? So that I know, like, oh, wow, you listened to it. I just want to know where you're connecting with me from and how you found me. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And as we close the show, I want you to just speak to one woman who just feels supercharged now, who has listened to you and it's like, oh my God, I heard this lady Oluseye and my head is just buzzing right now. How do we keep that fire alight? What do you just speak to her about, just what she needs to do next?
What you need to do next is to remember, first of all, that you're a child of God. And what that means is that you have everything at your disposal. So the desire to do things, the willingness to do it, the power to get it done, you have everything at your disposal, right? And then stay connected to people that will continue to light your fire. Like, don't stay in isolation. Don't remain on your own. Find people who charge you up and stay there. Like, don't let them go. Hold on to their skirts and say, I'm with you. I'm going to be with you, because at the end of the day, you already have what is all you need inside of you. All you're waiting for at this moment is people to help you see those things, until you can bring all those ideas in your heart to life. The world is waiting for you. There's so much that is counting on you. Even the Bible says the whole of creation is waiting for the manifestation
Mm.
of the sons of God. You are a son of God.
Mm.
And everybody, literally, is waiting for you to stand up and walk in the fullness of who God has made you to be. And I can't wait to see what that looks like for you. That'll be so phenomenal.
I love it. I can't wait to see as well. The world is waiting. Thank you so much, Oluseye.
Thank you.
God
Thank you for
bless you.
having
Thank
me.
you
It's
so
been a
much for being
pleasure
here.
chatting
Thank
with you today.
Same here. Thank you.